Here they're asking us to test to determine whether enough information is given to prove the triangles are congruent using the hypotenuse leg congruence theorem. So let's look. Remember that hypotenuse leg requires a right triangle. So I'm going to look at these both just for a second, 11 and 12 at the same time. If my picture does not have a right angle in it, I'm immediately just going to say that it does not use HL. So look at number 12. These are not right angle markings here. So this is not HL. And then I'm not going to think about it anymore. Let's look over here at 11. 11 does have right angle markings. So it's a possibility that it's using hypotenuse leg theorem. We've got one side marked here. I'm going to highlight that side. This is marked with one marking. This has one marking. Now I need to think about the picture. These triangles are touching. They share a side. I'm going to mark that with 2 marks. Now I see that there's 2 sides marked and I see that I have a right angle, so it has high potential of being hypotenuse leg. Let's think about if the hypotenuse is marked. Remember that across from the right angle is the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is actually the shared side in this picture, so the hypotenuse is marked. Now let's make sure that we have a leg marked in each of the triangles. Here is a leg, and here is a leg. So this does fit the hypotenuse leg theorem. So yes, congruent by HL. Let me double check the statement. HIJ, H to I to J, HKJ, H to K to J. That's matching order. The corresponding things are lining up. So that is the right order. All right. This section I think is so important for the test because it's, it looks overwhelming at first and you really need to be able to draw your own picture for things and to determine if the triangles are congruent based on what they're giving you. Just FYI, these weird symbols, they're supposed to be angles. It didn't copy very well for me, but that should be like angle B and angle E whenever you see that weird symbol. So each of these is separate. So I'm going to mark my picture and then I'm going to erase my picture in between each question. So each one is like a fresh start. So angle B and angle E match. They have one marking. BC matches with EF. So since that's the first side, I'm going to use one mark. Now they're asking what goes here so that you can use side angle side postulate. Remember, to use side angle side, the angle needs to be surrounded. Currently, we have this side that is touching this angle, but we need to surround the angle. To surround the angle, I need this side of the triangle and this side of this triangle. So that's what needs to go into the blank. So in this first one, we need BA and ED. And there's segments, so they have the little segment bar over the top, and that would be what would fill that blank. So now I need to erase my picture, my markings, so I can reuse my picture. Now if you were doing this on your paper, you could draw a picture for each one. That's what I would do. I would just redraw the picture, like a small picture for each one. So the next one, AB congruent to DE. These are the first sides listed. I'm going to mark them with one marking. Then they've got BC and EF. Now I need to use 2, second set listed. Now they're asking for a statement here so that I could use side, side, side. Remember, to use side, 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 all 3 sets of sides need to be marked. So I need to locate my third set of sides, mark them with 3 markings, and add them to the reason here. AC congruent to DF. Now sometimes they're just going to give you all the given and ask you which theorem is used. So you need to be prepared to draw a picture, label everything, decide the theorem. Or kind of like I'm doing here, they're telling you the theorem, you're having to fill in the missing piece that you would need to use that theorem. That really makes sure you know how to use that theorem working these problems. The last one, they want us to use HL. They're telling us that AC is congruent to DF, so we're going to mark that. Here's AC, here's DF First side's listed, 1 marking. They're saying that angle A is a right angle and that A is congruent to D. Well, if A is congruent to D and A is a right angle, then D is a right angle as well. Now, they need us to use HL, and we have one more statement that needs to be filled in. So let's look at our picture and see what's marked. We've got a right angle. This is a leg, and this is a leg. We need the hypotenuse. Remember that the hypotenuse is opposite from the right angle. So opposite from the right angle in our picture gives us side BC and EF. So that's what goes into this blank. BC congruent to EF, if we want to use hypotenuse leg there.